Wanted to give everybody a quick update from Rustin Related Garage. Lily's truck, we've got 3 more years to get it done. We've got a good jump on it, good start, and I'm sure you've all seen pictures and videos recently posted of what her truck looks like now. But her truck is outside now underneath a cover, at least for the next month, because I went out and bought myself a 1982 C10. It's almost the same year as hers. The only difference between our trucks really is that mine's a standard, which is kind of what I wanted to do to her truck, only so I could teach her how to drive a standard and she would know how to drive a standard the rest of her life. Same thing with Colt. But now we don't have to do that. We can make hers an automatic, a little more friendly to drive, and I can teach them both in my truck. The only other difference is that this is a 327. Lily's, which is right there, and the rest of her engine is over there on the bench, is a 350 that needs to get rebuilt. This thing has a blown head gasket on the driver's side, and but it's got some really cool stuff. So it's got fuelie heads. So it's essentially the same block, and it was in running condition, great oil pressure, but it just has a blown head gasket. So we'll rip those heads off, we'll rebuild them, we'll have them milled down completely flat, and we'll either put them back on that same block for her, or we'll put them on that block over there. Haven't decided what to do yet in that respect, but either way, she'll have a really stout engine. I just ordered my engine for this truck today. It's gonna be a Blueprint 383 stroker, and I think that's gonna be an awesome match for that TKX5 Tremec transmission, and the 308 rear gears need something with a little bit of torque to get this thing going. We might rebuild the rear end and put 373s. I think 411s is a little drastic, but I'm just waiting to get the engine in. Another cool thing we're doing, instead of going carbureted, which is kind of what I like to do, we'll still have that availability. In fact, that carb and intake is going on Lily's truck. I'm going fuel injected. I'm going with the Holley Sniper 2. So I got to drop the tank, put an in-tank fuel pump in instead of doing it the lazy and cheap way of just putting an inline pump that's probably going to burn up. So it'll be fuel injected because my goal, because my Chevy outside has 170,000 on it, this is going to be my daily driver unless there's salt or sand on the roads or inclement weather. I'm going to be driving this and driving it a lot. So lots of exciting things. I'm hoping to have this done and by Christmas time, which would be awesome. So you'll see me driving around the town of Basra, and then once this is out, Lily's is coming back in, and I actually just ordered a ton of all of her front suspension parts that we're gonna need. There's a lot of stuff in here. We're gonna redo her entire front end, make it all brand new. It was shot. And then start working our way back. So exciting things, especially for me. But there's a lot of stuff on this engine. I already took some things off. Had a brand new alternator. It's got a brand new power steering pump. The headers are in good shape. I'm gonna go bigger tube headers than what this is. Those are 1.5 inches. I'm probably gonna do 1.75 inches. So a lot of stuff on here she's gonna get. So it's a win-win in my book, but stay tuned. It's gonna be awesome. Just an update from the last video that I made. I put a couple hours of work into the truck. Just pretty much getting the engine ready to pull. So I took a lot of the front drive accessories off, the alternator, which was new, but the bracketry that held the alternator on the engine was very shoddy. Somebody just made it work. And it was the same thing with the power steering pump, which they replaced and put a new one on. But the brackets, like I said, they function, but they're not what's supposed to be on there. Somebody just made it work to get by. So I took the carburetor off, distributor cap wires. All of the wires on this thing have these almost like chew marks. I don't know if somebody spent time to do this or what, but I don't know what or who would do that. And it's not just on the spark plug wires, it's literally on almost every single wire in this truck. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know why a mouse would waste its time taking a little bit off the whole way, or somebody had an issue or something and that was their little tick that they did to wires. I have no idea, but all that's coming off. And ideally my goal for today is to pull the drive shaft, get the transmission out, because I need to see what size flywheel is on there and what size clutch is on there, because I need to order a new flywheel for the engine that's coming, because it's externally balanced because it has a 400 crank. This one's internally balanced. And then once I get that done, I've got to drop the fuel tank, which sits underneath the truck here, and pull out the old sending unit for the fuel level and the pickup tube, because that's where the electric fuel pump is going into the tank for the EFI system that I'm running. So a lot of work to do. The engine should be here Wednesday, but I have a ton of work to do before I can even think about putting that thing in this truck. So that's it. See you next time. All right, it's a couple of days later and we've got some big time progress. The motor's out, it's on the stand. We're gonna tear that down, at least take the heads off and see what the head gasket looks like. And if the cylinders and pistons look pretty good, I'll just have the heads rebuilt, resurfaced, and throw a set of head gaskets on it, change out the intake, and Lily's engine will be ready to go. Transmission's down there. The throwout bearing had a little corrosion on the bearing, and it was a little noisy when I spun it. So I ordered a new one. That's kind of a cheapo that comes with the kit to put the TKX in these trucks. It's only about 120 bucks for a throwout bearing. That's on the very low end. So I got a lot of parts coming. The clutch I looked at, the one that was with this kit with that transmission was rated for 350 horsepower. That's not going to cut it with the engine that's coming. It should be here tomorrow, actually. So I ordered a new clutch, that different flywheel I need for the 400 crank, new pressure plate, new throwout bearing, and a ton of other stuff that I found that I needed. Stuff that just bothers me. 20 years ago, I would have made it work, but I like things being done right. And with this truck being a daily driver, I definitely want everything to be absolutely perfect on it. I was able to get all the fuel out of the tank, drop the tank, and the Holley EFI pump's already in it. And one thing that I like and dislike is when I set the pump in, the lines come out towards the outside of the truck. The stock tank, the lines pointed in, but then there was a 6-inch length of rubber hose in between there and the steel lines that bridge across to the other side of the truck and run forward. I actually like this better because I can put, a 2-foot loop from the top of the tank to connect to those lines, so I can drop the tank out. And when I go to put the tank up in, there's plenty of room on the top there to have those extra lines. Dropping it was not an easy task whatsoever. So that'll simplify it if I ever have to drop it again. So we're just waiting on the engine and a ton of parts that are coming in. I am going to redo a majority of the wiring in the truck. The more and more I look at it, the more and more it's between all the chew marks on it. Some of it is down to, like this one here is actually the alternator wire. And you can see where it's down to the conductor there. So all of this is going to get redone. I'm going to loom everything and just make sure everything is 100%. Take the extra time, make sure it's done right. I found a ground wire that somebody ran to the rear lights, and it's just a 16 gauge wire that's run through nothing, a couple of zip ties along the bottom of the frame, all the way up inside the passenger side fender to a ground that's on the radiator support. So stuff like that, I'm gonna redo, make sure it's done right. So that's it for now. Things are rolling along. The next video, I'm hoping to show at least the engine sitting in there. The headers that are coming for this motor aren't going to be in until another week or so because they're shipping from Arizona. But I have a lot of work to do anyway. But hopefully, I would say by the third week in December, I'll be driving this thing around. You'll see me around town. All right, it's like a week later, and my thoughts of showing the next video of the new engine sitting in there. No, not at all. It's been cold. It's been real cold, and as you can see, just have a bunch of open trusses, no insulation on any of the walls. So I got that little guy there. It actually helps out, takes the edge off a little bit, but doesn't make things too nice to work on in here. But things that I've done in the last week, you'll notice that there's no tire, there's no rear end, there's no nothing. I took it out and sent it up to Connecticut Axle up in Ellington, and they're gonna rebuild it. It had 256 gears in it. That's too low of gears for the rear end in this and the transmission. It's just not gonna be good. So that and the amount of horsepower and torque that the new motor makes, it's just gonna blow the rear end up. So spend a little bit of money now, save a little bit of money down the road. So that'll be back Saturday. Today is Tuesday. So I'll put that in over the weekend. Really, between getting that out and I put the gas tank up in, which went really well with those lines, with the orientation I was talking about. No kinks, no nothing. It's actually a really great setup. So I'm happy I put that in there. And then I redid a bunch of wiring in the back that just wasn't up to my standard and par. Loomed it all. I ran the fuel pump wire up to the front here, and now I'm to the point where the overflow tank for the radiator, which was non-existent, they just had a hose dumped out on the ground, which is absolutely stupid because you're never gonna be 100% coolant. You're always gonna be about 80% if you do that. So this is actually one that I picked up at a swap meet for 10 bucks. So as soon as I get that in, that's gonna determine my location for the power distribution module for the Holley EFI setup. I was gonna put it back there on the firewall, but I think up here on the inner fender is gonna be a better spot. So once I get those two things mounted, then I can go to town wiring, and I'm gonna clean up all of the stock wiring too that I had talked about being chewed up. So that'll all be new and done. Sorry, I've been fighting a little bit of a cold. So once those things are in, the wiring is cleaned up, then I can start working on this engine over here. Yeah, that's right. It's in. I got the dyno sheet, 460 horsepower, 490 foot-pounds of torque. It's a monster. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Sorry, excuse my language, but I got it with the front drive accessories on it already. So the alternator, power steering pump, even came with an AC compressor. I'm just gonna leave it on unattached, and eventually one day I'm sure I'll put AC in it. But literally all of the parts are in that I need to finish this, and it's scattered around the garage here, but I've got a lot of work to do, and I don't really want to rush things, but I'm also really excited too. So as you can see, it's really cold in here, and that thing has been running for a few hours already. So I'm gonna get to work and update everyone soon.